Hello and welcome to Labor Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week's episode of the program, we will be focusing on the issue of casualization of workers in the oil and gas sector. But first, let's take the news.
Staff of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, under the aegis of Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, are calling for the removal of their Director General. Protesting at the Commission headquarters, the staff accused the management of corruption and flagrant indifference to public service regulations. They also alleged that there has been unprecedented retrogression in the execution of the Commission's mandate.
Imagine the clarification that was gotten since 2016 of August. It was in March 2018 that he agreed. So all that while, he has been a director for over 5 years in Energy Commission and a DG for almost 5 years now. He finished the 5 years. He don't know the mandate of Energy Commission. He's waiting for DSS to force him to accept that. How can you give that person an appointment? And not only that, the mess in the finance department. We are calling for Mr. President to send this anti-graft to come and look at our book. Yes. Particularly project accounts, which they made it just like a bazaar account. It's just like your salary account, you can withdraw anything at your wish. Nobody has the right to ask you why.
Staff of the National Emergency Management Agency defied the rain during the week to protest against the redundancy and what they call the failed leadership of the agency. They converged on the emergency bay in Abuja, asking government to probe the administration of its Director General, Mustapha Maitaja, whom they say is incompetent. The feud between the workers and the DG reached a peak with a strike by the workers which began last week.
If you get to our office, from pen to paper, we don't have. Inks to print, we don't have papers and inks to print in the office. You can imagine somebody will come to work from morning till evening. Government is paying us and we don't work. We are not working. NEMA is not underfunded. Government have given us all that is required. But the fact is that our DG doesn't have the capability to manage the place. He doesn't know what it takes to be the head of a disaster management organization. Now, if you talk about disaster management in this era, you require a complete cycle from preparedness to response. But at this point, what we are doing is only relief. You wait for the thing to happen, then you carry relief to the place. The second aspect of it is the issue of welfare. Our staff have been dying in Maiduguri. They are not covered under insurance. We had this issue last year with the minister and our national body. At the end of the day, we agreed after 12 hours to call off the strike. We did. From that time till now, no insurance, more people have died. This is part of our agitation.
Workers of the National Board for Technology Incubation are protesting against the reappointment of Mohammed Jibrin as Director General. They are appealing to President Muhammadu Buhari to rescind his decision to reappoint Jibrin for another 5 years, citing alleged incompetence and corruption.
We want the president to kindly look at us, to please reverse himself. He has the power to do it. The president has the capacity. He was what appointed him. Probably he didn't know of all this thing we appointed him. Now we are telling him he should reverse it. We don't want him here as our DG because he has killed this agency. In short, it's remaining to be buried. Our agency has gone down, no capacity building for the past 4 years, no training, departments are comatose, people are there, no material to work, nothing.
Across 36 states is a deplorable thing. Our centers, most of them do not have toilets to go to. Most of our roofs are leaking. We're talking about engineering workshops. None of them are working. And yet we're calling ourselves technology incubation. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. We have been here for how many years? We have suffered under four years. We've lost this office that we are sitting in because the DG has refused to pay the rent.
companies involved in that. It's more or less like ignorance. But there is no way you put the security organization in the hand of Kasha. It's not a stakeholder. It doesn't have any interest. When you put somebody that's well paid in charge, the survival of that organization will be paramount in his heart. You see him trying to put his best. Make sure that this company outlive me. This company must not die. But I will keep telling them that it could be these people that are supposed to as Kasha, they also are human beings. You don't put them under very, very external conditions that become so difficult and everything. And we've been saying it, that let's see what we can do. Because in the oil and gas, our members make sacrifices. We make sacrifices. If you look at it, that, okay, due to the floating prices or crude oil prices, what can we do? There are some of our benefits that can say, okay, I can put this on hold, suspend this until everything improves. Everybody come, but once we are temporarily doing this thing, we carry everybody about, open up to them, let them see. Because they also know. And we say, okay, what do we do? Instead of saying, throw us away, instead of having this CBA negotiation, we know we can put this on hold, we can put this SYZ on hold until the situation improves. But just making them crashers. For example, there was one guy that had been a crasher for almost 9 years. And this guy died, and the only thing that he could even beg the management to do was to see how they can also provide the coffin, pay the entitlements and everything. And the family, 3-4 months, well, that's nothing. So it's ungodly. But for us, we also scheduled meetings with the NCDMB. Because most of these are prominently in the Nigerian local content. And it's unfortunate that the essence of the local content is that Nigerians should take ownership of the industry. But we find out that Nigerian contractors are the one that are also doing this kind of thing. We know what Pengassin paid when the issue of cash crop was there. And this government came on board and said, okay, what do you do? Over $8 billion were being owed on cash crops. When the crude prices was also 120, 130. But when this government came on board, we also met them. And the essence is that, okay, most of those indigenous contractors who are owing them, start paying them. But some of them like living in affluence, buying jets, buying everything, to the detriment of the people that are doing that, which is ungodly. But we also scheduled a meeting with the NCDMB in conjunction with our Nupen counterparts with the ES, that's Waribote. Let's work together, address this issue holistically, and let's have timelines that going forward for the love of this country, for the improvement of the industry, these are our minimum, our maximum.
It's an embarrassing situation in the country. It's an embarrassing situation in the country because virtually workers have been turned into slaves in their own country. Look, for instance, take the issue of oil and gas industry. The cadre of Nupen has been virtually eliminated in the oil and gas industry. It's not that the work for this cadre is not existing or people are not doing the work, but all these workers have been outsourced. They are working for peanuts. They work for 30 days, 24/7, without holiday, without medical, without anything, apart from the peanuts they take at the end of the month. And when the contract is terminated, they go back home with their last month's pay salary. It's virtually terrible. And you realize that institutions that are supposed to monitor this have gone to sleep. Nopeng has cried and cried and cried, demanding for fairness, demanding that if you are creating jobs, if you are employing people, let it be decent. Don't subject people to slavery in their own country. But our institutions are just looking sideways. This thing started over 2 decades ago. And gradually, like a cankerworm, it has seeped into every fabric of our industry. I know it's happening in other sectors, but Nopeng, in oil and gas, we are taking the fight and we are taking the step up. Recently, our president attended the AGM of Shell globally. So if we are failing Nigeria, if there are no institutions in Nigeria to address this, we are taking the battle to their global boardroom. We are exposing them, because what have we done in Nigeria to deserve this kind of treatment?
Well, you all are aware of the impunities that have been perpetrated by some of these multinational companies. And the labor has frowned about the issue of casualizations in oil workers, especially in energy sector, which oil and gas, and that also includes the power industries. So is such attitude towards the Nigerian workers that are not accepted to the labor organization, especially the United Labour Congress of Nigeria, where we domicile. So is a very pathetic issue, and it's very pathetic indeed, because Nigerians are being used as slaves. Nigerians are being used as people who doesn't even have any condition of service, and there are laws that have specified that such things must have a joint authorship between the company, the government, and the labor for us to be able to do what? Get what we want. But in this case, you agree with me that these companies does it because either they have the backbones, either from the government or those who brought them to come and invest in such a sector. So, but we are looking at it holistically, especially from the labor angle, and to ensure that such trends stop henceforth. So that is the area we are trying to move. And especially if you are in the ILO conventions, they frown at it. And they have even taken it down to the Nigerian aspect of it. So we are moving ahead with them. And we are trying to make sure that all the labor organizations that are both involved in oil and gas and in energy sectors come together to synergize so that we can fight such an ugly trend. It's not acceptable by any union.
On the profile interview segment this week, I will be speaking with the president of NUPENG. He will be sharing with us why it was important for them to actually present a case as a standard of application on behalf of the workers' union, following the ugly trend of casualization and precarious work conditions in the oil and gas sector. Take a listen. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Good. A lot has been happening at the ILO conference, and your union, NUPENG, made the presentation at the standard application hearing today. I'd like to ask you, why do you think it's of utmost importance that NUPENG made a position here today?
It's disheartening to know that there's an ugly new trend in labor employment in Nigeria, especially in oil and gas. And at our level, at our local level in Nigeria, we've tried, to handle it, in our own usual way of raising alarm. Minister of Labor will intervene, NPC will intervene, But we keep observing that we are not going anywhere. Rather, the multinationals, the IOCs, keep perpetuating these, anti-labor, vices. And we felt we need to add, another approach, because these IOCs, as we also know, they have businesses around the world. And it's not the way they are treating Nigerian workers in the same way they are treating others. So our question is that, why is it that we are not actually doing right? Is it that our government is not providing, the necessary directive? Or why are the multinationals, continue to take advantage, of Nigerian workers in the oil and gas? So we felt it was necessary to also bring it, to this global level so that the world can also hear us out.
Okay, during your presentation, you made example of other countries and how they treat casual workers and contract staff. I would like you to explain to us, how much does an average worker, a contract staff in the oil and gas sector, earn, and how would you compare it globally?
Okay, in our own capacity, we've attended, several workshops, with other international participants, under the umbrella of industry oil. And during our interactions, we have had representatives from like Netherlands, Poland, express surprise that companies like Shell, or Chevron, will be treating Nigeria worker in that manner. I say because in their country, that they almost pay the contract worker and the permanent worker the same amount. That's almost the same condition of service is applied to everybody. So long you are doing the same kind of job, that's what you get. So I don't understand why in the Nigerian context, all the companies decide to outsource all their jobs. They don't seem to have any core job anymore. We are even warehouse operations is contracted out. The contractor now will contract to another contractor, and we are going to have like 5 chains of contractors for only one particular job. And that means we are impoverishing Nigerians. Our concern, not even just as a labor union, but for the future, of Nigerians and even the youth that today are leaving schools, that are not getting better jobs. I think this is a clarion call for everybody.
From your experience, I would like you to state in clear terms how much an average casual worker earns and how much an average casual worker in the global industry actually earns.
Those figures may not be at my fingertips right now, but what I know is that an average contract worker in Nigeria here is paid less to nothing. You can go. I'm sure you have brothers and sisters, that work in the oil and gas. That are contract workers. They are paid a minimum, let's say, an amount of like 50, 70,000 naira per month. That is somebody that working in the oil and gas sector.
Which is the core?
That is the core business of the IOCs. It's the core business of the IOCs.
And it's also one of the greatest source of income for the country.
In the country.
So that shows.
And we're talking about a product that is so globally. It's not that the amount.
And you earn in dollars.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that, like the amount you sell oil in Nigeria is cheaper than the way it's sold in the US, or in other places of the world. You understand? So why is the case of Nigeria different? That's the question I've come to ask them here at the ILO.
Okay, moving forward, I have observed that we also have lots of expatriates that come down to the oil and gas sector to actually do our jobs. Can you shed more light on this?
Honestly, that is even one very challenging area we also have. Yes, of course, those people are being brought down to come and even do the same job we are doing here. Of course, they are rated, along global standards. They don't even tell them because they are coming to Nigeria here. Apart from all the logistics that are involved, of such an expatriate coming over, with transportation, accommodation, and all that. Apart from that, their salary is also at par with their counterpart over the world. I challenge anybody to go, to go online and check what they are paid and compare it with what our Nigerians earn here. It's very disheartening. Disheartening that this thing continues to happen. And honestly, if it remains unchecked, then another slave labor camp would have been built in Nigeria.
I'm going to take you up on the right of workers to actually unionize and actually participate in union activities. From your presentation, you actually explained to us that contract workers are made to sign that they won't be part of NUPENG or any other union. Exactly. What's your take on this?
In fact, it has even gone to that extent. So as not to be called strike mongers, all agitating that the contractors must be employed. We decided, as recognized by conventional laws, that the worker can still be organized. We'll try to do that. Then again, they are also frustrating such unionization. Even where a worker has agreed that you identify a union, is also made, forced to sign that if he wants the job, then he must do away with union. We have such cases, we can prove them. That even workers are on the basis of, if you must need this job, then you must not join union. We have such cases all over the place. Cases where even after organizing a particular contractor workers, then after a while the contract expires, the condition in which they will give to that contractor is that, please, if you must regain this job, you must make sure that those workers either don't belong to a union or you change your company name so that we can give you the job and make sure workers. So at the end of it all, what has we all done wrong? You refuse to even give up permanent employment. And again, even on that contract basis, we say, okay, let's also have voice, to have in a collective bargaining agreement. And what you keep saying that we'd also have that right. And what is so provocative is that it is only in Nigeria this is happening. It's only in Nigeria this is happening. Because every time you hear NUPE going on strike, we're not going on strike. It's for the benefit of some persons that are being shortchanging the system. Which at the long run, not for only NUPEM benefit, but for the larger society.
So what do you think is the way forward? What do you think the government has to do? What do you think the employers of labor needs to do to ensure that there's a paradigm shift from this pattern?
I think government need to look into the method of employment in oil and gas. If they don't do that, in fact, they will get it. By the time they realize what is happening there, it will be too late. They need to look into what is going there. They need to compare what is also happening outside the Nigerian shores. How employments are done. How are these IOCs treating their employees outside Nigeria? They need to also look at that. So I'm not saying it must be exactly what they are paying the people outside Nigeria. But the policies should be the same and should also be competitive. Not in Nigeria here, you give a particular contract and you allow that contract to run through 3 contractors. You have a particular job, you allow it to run through 3 contractors. And most of those contractors, and those contractors, most of them are even portfolio contractors. Most of them don't even have offices.
Can you name the companies that
I will name them. I can tell you a situation where one of the ISO, we met one of the ISOs over a contract that ran away with the contract workers' benefits. And they also tell us that they don't know the whereabouts of that contractor. But you are the one that gave a job to that man. Or what they want to say, well, if you can't get your money, then go to court. Because they know that, the court process will not be in the interest of the Nigerian worker. How much does a worker have to go to court with an IOC? So, of course, you were told that you name the contract. I'm talking about the IOCs. I'm talking about Shell. I'm talking about Chevron, Mobil, Ajib. They are all indulging it. And let me tell you one thing. Because the IOCs believed that they have all what it takes to suppress the workers. Even other companies that are also coming up to also carry out such activities. Yeah, they're also taking along that side. They're also taking that approach. So I don't know where we are going to, at what point we are going to get it right. But I know if we are going to get it right, then we must start doing something now.
Okay, moving forward, recently you briefed the press and you announced that you are giving the IOCs 21 days ultimatum to actually pay workers and actually desist from unfair labor practice. How through? Is there any updates? Is there anything coming up so far?
We have a strong feeling that there might be some intervention, because what is happening today, I'm not sure it's in the interest of the government. I also expect government to also intervene at this level. Because if it's a government that actually has the interests of the youths at heart, there is one challenge before them. So the ultimatum, is to actually raise a voice, and let the world know, and let the country know, and let government know, and let the IOCs know that there is something they are doing wrong somewhere, and it's necessary they also call themselves to order.
Okay, so finally, how would you say the Ministry of Labour has been able to interfere in this situation? Would you say that the Ministry of Labour has been actively engaging these employers of labour? Is there anything you think that they can also do to ensure that workers are treated fairly?
To be fair to them, I'm sure they've tried their best, but I know they can do more. They can do more. Because what we observe is that, or rather what they keep telling us, their role is to advise. You know, and you know what that means. You know, you can advise somebody and that person might decide not to take your advice. So I think that is why these challenges, you know, continue to go on. So, but I think they should also change the approach of just advising. You know, there are a lot they can do. Like the contractors today that are employing these contract workers, like I said, most of them are job professionals, they don't even have offices. And the law says, you know, they are supposed to have been licensed by the Ministry of Labor. You know, they are supposed to have gotten recruiter license before they employ Nigeria under a contract basis. You know, so when such a contractor runs away with terminal benefits and cannot be seen, then somebody has to be held responsible. Yes. But in this situation, we can't hold government responsible. We can't even hold the IOCs that gave them the job responsible. So who do we hold responsible? God. So that means we are leaving our feet in the hands of God. I know God is for us all, but I also know too that they also have a role to play.
Okay, I have to ask this other question. Looking at ILO and the activities that you've actually experienced, what's your thought towards the advocacy for decent work, especially when it comes to men and women in the workplace?
Yeah, I think that is the best way to go. To me, precarious work is inhuman, and any work that is left for a man or woman should be decent. Decent in wages, decent in services, and the way we also look up to ourselves. So I honestly agree with decent work, you know, among all sexes.
Okay, it's good to have you on the program. And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember, labor creates wealth.